Well, hello there, everybody.
Sup?
Hi.
Not too much. Kind of busy. Enjoying this wonderful weather. I was actually sitting outside for a little bit. Actually, funny story. I was sitting outside eating lunch yesterday outside of the classroom, and a car pulled up of someone I have not seen in almost 10 years. It was a former student. As small as the world is, how funny. He was just driving down the street and happened to see me sitting outside in a chair eating a sandwich. So he actually came up, and I'll tell you right now, he was not one of my best students. He had a lot of courage to come up and say hello to me, but I was really glad that he did, because he's doing pretty good. He's doing video editing. His brother owns a recording studio called Rotation Records over in Norristown. And he does video editing for weddings and events, but that's to pay the bills so he can do recording and stuff. But it's kind of cool. He got his act together and took what he learned from here at the school and applied it, and he's doing pretty good. So I actually told him when school opens back up, I'd love to have him come in and talk to you, to the students, to kind of let him know how he's been, where he's been the last 10 years. But it's nice to kind of see that somebody that used to drive me nuts actually is kind of working in the industry right now and trying to figure things out. So yeah, pretty cool story. So I think, I believe things happen for a reason, and for whatever reason, I decided to sit outside and eat my lunch, and at that right moment, he pulled right up and came over and started talking to me. So pretty cool stuff. It's funny to think that, he's 28 years old now, and he was one of the first students I had. I guess this is my 14th year teaching right now, but doesn't feel like it was that long ago that he was my student, but pretty cool. So I thought I would share that with you, but let's see here. Well, I'll tell you what, it's 5 after. I'm just going to get started, and I will do the traditional, if anybody has any questions right now, please feel free to ask them either to me or put them in the chat column. I think most of you know right now that the marking period ends today. So I will be working on putting all the grades in tonight. So hopefully some of you took that little bit of extra time that I gave you to try and catch up and submit work. Like I said, kind of going forward with the second marking period, there just isn't going to be as many opportunities to give extra time and to be able to give extra leeway with trying to get your work and your projects done. So if for any reason you still feel at this point that you don't understand the system, how we use Schoology and how we use our class website and how we use our YouTube channel to kind of pull all of our content together and teach this program, please reach out to me. You can pop in at 1:45 if you want during office hours, and I can still go over it with you. But, I've still had just a few stragglers at this point that just don't really kind of understand the system. And like I said, I have some students I have yet to even, talk to that sadly are failing the first marking period because they just can't figure out a way to, I guess, trust the process and understand it and try and juggle getting their sending school work done as well as mine. So, I hope that if anybody does have any problems, I would sincerely hope that you would reach out to me and ask for help. But it's unfortunate, but there's quite a few students that that are not going to be passing the first marking period. But hey, I'll be the first to tell you, I was not the best student in the world when I went to school, and I had to learn the hard way. So maybe some students need to kind of fail that first marking period to try and figure out what it is they need to do and what they have to accomplish to get their work done. But for most of the names I see on here right now, most of you are doing pretty good. But as I said, please take that opportunity to go into your Schoology page and click on that left side where it says grades, and it'll tell you anything that's due. Okay, so without any further ado, so I assume nobody has any questions, comments, anything like that? Okay, I'm going to get started. I will be requesting, though, for those of you that are on right now, if you could please turn your cameras on. I am going to be making that. On our school administrator has asked that if we could have them on, I would greatly appreciate it. If you don't have a functioning camera, please let me know. But I just want to see all of your bright, smiling, and happy faces. But it just shows that you're kind of paying attention. I see what's going on. And to be quite honest, I'll be honest. I'm kind of glad administration's asking me to show faces right now, because I honestly have no idea what some of you look like. And I've been teaching for some of you for 2 months. I have no idea what you look like. Oh my goodness, that's what this Shauna looks like. I like your glasses also. But I just personally, I feel like I'm actually talking to a human being when I can see what you look like. So, but as I said, one piece of good news, as I said before, and I feel bad, like I feel like I'm keeping dragging you along here, but the laptops are here, they're being set up. So like I said, I have one more project that we're going to start the end of this week into next week. And that is the kind of the last project that we're going to be using, that you can still use your PC with, like your Chromebook or your Dell or whatever PC that you have. We're going to be using Google Draw to design your own studio space. Like if you see this wonderful fake green screen background that's not real, it's kind of similar to what our actual studio looks like here. But I'm going to ask everybody to do a little bit of research on the career path that you want to go into and use Google Draw to kind of design your own studio space. Like if you had money to throw around and you could design your own studio, that's the project that you're going to be working on, which in my opinion, I think is kind of cool. You can kind of do whatever you want as far as I'm concerned and have a cool looking studio. We've been talking about computers and technology and equipment and some of our returning students like Ariana, she was in on Friday, and she'll be the first to tell you that everything we do in this program revolves around technology, whether it's software or hardware. Hardware being computers and cameras and video cameras and soundboards and microphones. We are heavily reliant on technology. Now, we may start out, just doodling on a piece of paper, but where's it going to end up? It's going to end up on a computer. So that being said, now that we're going to finally be getting the computers, I'm just going to start rolling out the next assignment for everyone. So, hopefully starting sometime next week, distributing the computers. I can't believe it's going to be Thanksgiving in 2 weeks. But I want to get them in everybody's hands before Thanksgiving. So we can actually start messing with them over the break. And then we'll be doing things like introduction to Photoshop, introduction to Adobe Illustrator, introduction to sound. I have this cool little project I give you, like a Kung Fu movie clip and a war clip and a comedy clip, and you have to add all the sound effects. So it's just really kind of fun, cool ways to start getting kind of introduced to sound and how it works and laying down tracks and editing video. So like I said, things will hopefully be getting a lot more exciting when we actually get the technology in our hands. But anywho, I want to share my screen with you right now. Like I said, if nobody has any questions right now. But I spent a lot of time putting this together, and I figure I'll give you time to do it now. So let me just show you real quick and share my screen with you. Okay. Look at all these bright, shining, happy faces today. I love it. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. And let's see what's going on here. Okay. So if you take a look over here, you'll see I created this page, and it's going to be on Schoology. Can everybody see the page? It says Introduction to Mac OS X, got a laptop on there and all that fun stuff. Okay, great. Yeah. So for those of you that have never used a Mac before, let me be the first to tell you, you're going to love it. Some people freak out, oh no, it's a computer, I've never used it before. I'd love to be able to say, if I can figure it out, anybody can. And I'll tell you an interesting story. Way back in the 1990s when I was going to school, we didn't really have a lot of computers yet, and they were very complicated. And then I got my first Apple computer, And I'll be honest, it definitely changed my opinion on my thought of using computers for a living. Because before I got into teaching and computers, I was a photographer. I put film in a camera and took pictures, and I used to paint and draw. So I had never really been exposed to technology. And the funny thing is, I didn't start using computers till my final semester in college, and the rest I was self-taught. I went and worked at a studio. Actually lied and said I was a genius with Apple computers. And the guy hired me, and he found out I was staying there late at night learning the computer. And he's like, look, I'll let you stay. I'm not going to pay you for the time you're here at night, but I'll let you learn the equipment. And thank goodness he did. He was a cool guy. He knew I was just trying to start out. And, I never look back. I love technology. It drives me insane. Most of the time it never works for me because I'm on it all day. But it really is amazing how the technology's changed. So, Apple is very user-friendly in my opinion. I'll do a quick little tour. But to me, it's like what you see is what you get. Everything's right there, and it can kind of get you started on what you need to do. So if you take a look here, I did Introduction to Mac OS X. So it's under the orientation page. When I'm done this presentation right now, like I do with everything else, I'll save this live session, and I will send you the link to it. When I show you the screen right now, can you see a little picture of me up in the corner somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I'm flailing around and trying to be articulate, and I'm like, if nobody sees this, I'm not going to do it. Okay, cool. So I created this little brief introduction. I believe in fully breaking things into small chunks. I would never make you sit there and watch a 45-minute video because I couldn't do it. I would fall asleep. Hey, Steve, what are you digging for there, buddy? You get a little too comfortable there, man. So if you take a look here, you have the introduction to Mac, and I just wrote a brief little paragraph to kind of give you a description. It says, in the field of art and design, the use of technology and software is heavily relied upon to create and publish our creative ideas. So it's great that we start with an idea, but how do we actually get it out there for people to see and enjoy? So we use technology. There's tons of different options out there for hardware, software, but we use everything. We work in an Apple environment. Some people use Alienware or HP or Dell, but our program is specific to Apple just because of, we get a lot of use out of them. The technology's great, and it's what industry uses. When we teach this program, when you eventually get in here, you're going to see. I'll pick this up and turn it around and show you. We have this amazing studio environment. We got all this cool stuff, and we try to make it look as real as possible and have real equipment. So if you were lucky enough to go out and get a job on day one, you'll hopefully be on an Apple computer. And the funny thing is, years and years ago, Apple was not well known. They were actually almost went out of business a couple times. And now it's just hysterical to see how much they've kind of taken over in the industry. But luckily, Apple's, I'll tell you right now, the reason, why do you think a lot of people don't own Apple computers? Any idea, anybody?
They're expensive.
Thank you. They're very expensive. For you to go out, so the laptop that I'm going to hopefully be distributing out is about $1,400. And then the software is another $600. So you could go and buy a comparable Dell computer for $500, maybe. But it's true, you get a lot more out of the Apple. It's faster, it has more storage, it has more what's called processing power. So the work's just going to be a lot quicker and more streamlined for you. But like I said, the stuff is kind of cost prohibitive. I'll tell you, one of the reasons I love teaching is I hopefully I never got to pay for a computer again, because I get a laptop every 5 years. And believe it or not, these Apples, if you treat them right, they'll last years. I have an Apple that's 14 years old, still works. All I do is play music and stream audio and stuff, but it still works. So, taking a look here, I set this up for you where I have it broken down. So there's some really cool stuff. This is just an unboxing and overview. If you've never taken an Apple out of a box or held one before, they have their own specific, USB charger that you have to use. You can't use any other charger. Whatever it comes with is what you use. Now, we're actually putting packages together for you all. It's going to have a case. It's going to have this, I love using this, and it's actually saved my computer more than a couple times, but it's like a keyboard cover, this flimsy little thing, because I've spilled food and my dog has drooled on my keyboard when I'm sitting on the floor trying to get work done. So, and a case to protect it. So, you'll see this overview of the unboxing and, what these computers are like. Zoom in a little bit. So I've created these videos that give you a basic understanding of what an operating system is. Like we work in what's called Mac OS X. PCs use what? Does everybody know what PC uses?
Windows.
Windows. So Windows has been around forever. I don't even know what number it's on at this point right now. Mac names it after famous locations like Mac OS X Yosemite and El Capitan and all these mountain ranges, whatever. Makes it very confusing because it used to be named after animals. But now they have all these different operating systems. So this gives you an understanding of what they are. And then you start to move on using the desktop on a Mac. It's very different from a PC, but like I said, in my opinion, it's a little bit more intuitive. And then you start getting into what this thing down here is. If you look at my screen, I have this ridiculous amount of stuff on my screen. These are all, now it's funny, most of you will probably have 10 apps on your computer. Can you see when I slide across the screen all these funky things coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So most of you will have 10 or 12 different programs. These are all the ones I have to use as an educator and as a professional. It's a lot. Trust me. Don't freak out. You don't have to use all these, but there's a lot. But that's what's called your dock. That's your easy access center to where all of your applications are, your downloads, your trash can, down over here on the end. But these videos will cover that information. So these videos are not more than anywhere from 2.5 to 5 minutes each. At the end of every video, there's a short quiz that covers the material. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm going to give you close to $1,800 worth of equipment, you're going to have to pass a test so I know you're going to be able to, be responsible, take care of it, and understand it, especially if I'm going to be doing lectures and teaching. Most of these live sessions are for you, the new students, and any students that are returning that need to brush up. But a lot of these classes from now on in are going to be, we're using Photoshop, we're using Illustrator, we're doing this, we're setting up files, we're setting up folders. So we're going to be covering a lot of material in a relatively short amount of time. So you're going to need that computer, and you're going to need to understand it from, instead of me, at least starting day one, this is how you use your mouse. I want everybody to kind of have a general idea of what I'm going to be teaching them when they get these computers. So you'll see working with files and folders, finding files in computers, but you can figure all this stuff out. And the cool thing is I gave you a link. You'll see a green folder called Intro to Mac Computers. And there's the 7 quizzes. I think it's 35 questions total. And like I said, if anybody has questions, you can pop in and ask me real quick because I know I'm covering a lot. But you'll see all the quizzes. You do, have them done by Friday. You have the whole rest of the week. I'm not giving you any other work to do this week. I will be rolling out the project. The next project is going to take between now and Thanksgiving, okay? And an exploratory. So you're going to do a photo project, another project, and a quiz, before Thanksgiving. But I'm giving you time right now to really spend it trying to, like I said, work on your schoolwork, but then also try and get your head wrapped around these computers, because these things are going to be your best friend for the next 1, 2, or 3 years. So please make sure, don't just grind through it. You do have multiple chances. You get 3 chances to pass. If you bomb it all 3 times, we got to have a talk. And we'll try and figure it out, on what maybe the problem is and still get you that computer. But go through all these videos, take the quizzes. I'll see this. You can also see, I try to give everybody multiple opportunities to try and learn. I love to watch videos. Some people might like step-by-step instructions. These videos are actually tied to these questions that I found. But I went, I can go actually step-by-step, by clicking on number 4. Here's the video. But I like it too because it takes screenshots of everything. And this gives you kind of a much more broken down. I hate hitting pause every 5 seconds, but you can almost watch the video and then scroll down, and this describes what the sidebar and the folders and the files. So this really does a nice job breaking it down into sections too, as you can see. And there's even a little practice quiz that you don't get points for it, but there's a practice quiz on it. So if you can get through this, then you're pretty much ready to move on and take my quizzes. Okay. Jumping back, I'll scroll down a little bit more, and there's an introduction to the Adobe system that we use. I'm sure everybody sitting here right now has heard of Photoshop, right? It's kind of the industry standard. It's literally a verb now. We use the word verb, like you Photoshop that picture. You know, Photoshop didn't exist 25 years ago, but it is the industry standard. I don't even mess with anything else. And I love Photoshop. That's my thing. I love photography. I'm a photographer, and I love to do creative editing. Now, don't be scared. Adobe has about 50 different applications that they've created. We actually are just focusing on these main ones down here. Premiere Pro, which is the video editing, Photoshop, Illustrator. Illustrator is the vector program where you do drawings. Like when you create a logo or a menu or a poster. Photoshop is just that. It's just for photos. InDesign is when you combine and you actually make a menu and you make a magazine and you make a catalog. You take the vector art and you take the photos and then you put it all together in this program. Audition is the sound recording. And these are extra ones that I have. And then we also have the Apple tools, the education tools. Final Cut Pro is their video editing software. iMovie, every Mac comes with it. It's super simple. The funny thing is, when I make my tutorials for you all, I use that. You know, people pick on me because I don't use Premiere Pro all the time. Like, I don't need to. I'm just making a basic video. I'm not like making, you know, Deadpool 3, which actually I was watching Deadpool 2 last night while I was on making this computer, this lesson. And all of that movie, it's funny because the end credits rolled and that whole movie was edited in Adobe Premiere Pro, which is pretty crazy. So you'll also see the Pro Apps bundle down here, which Logic Pro is probably our best audio recording software. So these are all the programs that you're going to be using, not all at one time, but that's why we're a multi-year program. We're going to be kind of systematically going through, we're going to learn this first, and then we're going to do that. And we learn this first because we have to do this and this and this. Like some people think they're just going to start filming stuff. Well, you should learn how to tell a story and write a script, right? Same thing with it. If you're going to record tracks and beats, sure, you can pull beats all day, but how do you write a song? You know, what is the structure of writing a song? So those are all the fundamental things. If you're going to video, you know, something for the first time too, you have to kind of learn camera angles. Are you going to, you know, film from the left, from the right? You're going to learn the terminology. So we're just kind of doing all these baby steps in the beginning to learn that. So, but I will put this out today along with this recording. I'm going to put out this link for you to start kind of diving in. And like I said, if some of you see the programs we're going to be using, do a little bit more research on your own. Search for Adobe Photoshop, and you'll be able to find things that you need to work on. So that's really all I have. I want to kind of set you loose to start working on the Mac OS X. I am dying to kind of find out, what are you laughing at? I see you laying on the floor laughing. Okay, turn your mic on. Now I'm interested. What do you get? What, I have boogie? I don't know. What's going on? Somebody's laughing at me. Okay. So, you know, just an FYI, take the time, go through this stuff, check it out. We start the second market period Wednesday. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to start answering them for you right now. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns at all? Okay. Is anybody excited for this stuff? Any head nods? There you go. Okay. Like I said, I appreciate the patience that everybody's had. It's been quite a kind of crazy year at this point, but it seems like things are finally starting to come together. We're getting the technology, we're getting the software, and we're going to be able to, you know, no matter what happens over the next few months. I've seen some great things in the news where I think they finally started to develop a vaccine and hopefully get it out to everybody by spring. That would be awesome. It's kind of nuts me sitting all by myself in a $100,000 studio that's not being used as my office. But like I said, everybody make the best of it. Keep grinding out the projects. I appreciate the effort. But if that's it, if you need me, I'll be here at 1:45 for office hours. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Keep an eye out for Schoology. And then I will be happy to answer any questions. And that's it. So have a great day. I appreciate it. Take care. Be good. Jordan, it's always fun to watch you laugh on the carpet.
Mr.
Can't wait to
McCarthy.
see why.
Mr.
But have a
McCarthy.
good day, everybody. Thanks.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So
Sure.
about cybersecurity. So like, if you're trying to get into like that field, like what kind of what kind of like other fields like do you need to like get into the field?
Well, it's funny that you say that because my son Jack is graduating this year from Eastern Tech because we live in a different school district. He is actually taking networking and cybersecurity. It's actually almost like it's a completely different thing from what we're doing here. Now, networking and cybersecurity focuses more on, we use computers and creative software to create things. Networking and cybersecurity is setting up the computers and the network and the software so people like us can go to work and hopefully everything works properly. Setting up the phone system, setting up your email server, setting up the hardware, setting up your wireless access point in the ceiling so my Wi-Fi works. Like that's what the networking is. And like actually programming and adding a new hard drive, like actually fixing the computers. And then cybersecurity is making sure people can't hack into your computer and your accounts and setting up these invisible things called firewall. A firewall is a fancy thing on a computer. It's just a security system that's put in place because it's scary to think that there's people all over the place that are trying to get in on your computer. Like if you go to Dunkin' Donuts and use the free Wi-Fi, the one thing I would tell you to never do is shop online while you're there because people are going to try and jump in on your account and get your credit card information.
Right.
You really should only ever shop from a safe location, whether it's like a home network or something like that. But the cybersecurity is everything from making sure that the software, the website is up and running, the internet's up and running. People aren't sitting there trying to make your computer shut off or give it a virus. Protecting valuable information, like, the military has information on their computers they obviously don't want people getting to. So there's people that work in cybersecurity that literally sit there on a computer waiting for threats to come in and trying to protect and fix those issues. So it's more of we use computers to create things, and networking cybersecurity is they're setting everything up for us to be able to do that job effectively and safely. So are you?
Because I was thinking about doing cybersecurity and going to a trade school for it and then getting a job afterwards.
I mean, hey, that's another, I'll tell you what, it's a valuable resource. If you're graduating this year, you'll meet my son because he's going to Monco in the fall. He's actually going there for cybersecurity and networking.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you, he was fortunate because our tech school doesn't offer it, but Eastern Tech offered. He actually got 12 college credits to Monco because he took the classes at the tech school. So he's getting like almost a free semester worth of school by going to Monco. And if he likes it and he graduates there, he can transfer to Penn State or Temple or Penn College of Technology. But I tell him one step at a time, one class at a time, and you just work your way towards that. But if you're very detail oriented, and you like to try and figure things out and like they troubleshoot. Like one of the things I have to do and my son has to do is imagine when somebody says, my internet's not working. It's going to be your job to troubleshoot and say, well, what are the symptoms? And here's one of the 5 things it could be. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to fix it. So if you can kind of think along those lines and someone comes to you and says, our business is doubling in size. I need you to figure out how and plan to put 10 computers in this room and set people up and run the cables and the wiring. And do we have enough outlets? And is our internet strong enough? Do we need to upgrade our internet? So if you can kind of think of those things, I like it as I see that stuff as a challenge.
I
But
do.
yeah, and if you can think like that, and I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of women in technology and cybersecurity, and there's a big demand for it because women do think differently than men in terms of like some women have a different way of attacking a problem or a process, as where sometimes men will go, I never thought of that, and vice versa. It kind of works both ways, but um, my niece works in computer coding and design. She develops apps. She actually works for IKEA, the furniture company. Yeah, she's a lead developer. She makes a lot of money and gets a lot of respect because she's one of the few women that work in that field, and she just has a different way of figuring out of the processes on how to develop the app that some people can't figure it out. So but this is something we can definitely talk about as time goes on through the year and really kind of figure out. Luckily, Monco's right down the road. It's awesome. Mr. Folk graduated from there. And like I said, my son's going to be going there, and probably a couple other students from our program and from the school. But it's a great place to start. You take one semester, you take a couple classes, and see where it goes. But
Thank
you got
you.
you got a good head on your shoulders. I can't see you not, being successful at whatever you try to do. So, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you got it. It's always great talking to you. But if there's anything else you need, let me know. And if not, I'll be on tomorrow, and then I'll see you on Friday.
Yep. See you on Friday.
All right, cool. You have a good day.
You too.
All right, thanks. Take care.